Listen carefully. I'm about to tell you something your grandfather knew, but was too afraid to say out loud. My dada used to take me to our village temple every Sunday. On the way, we would pass an ancient banyan tree, hundreds of years old, so massive that 20 men couldn't wrap their arms around it. One day, when I was 12, I asked him, "Dada, will this tree live forever?" He stopped walking, looked at the tree for a long time, and then he said something I didn't understand until 30 years later. "Beta, a banyan tree doesn't die from one axe blow. It dies when termites eat the roots from inside. By the time you see it falling, it has already been dead for years." At the time, I didn't understand what he meant. I understood it much later, after spending months studying the fall of Vijayanagara, the collapse of the Maratha Empire, and the bloodbath of partition. Different centuries, different enemies, but the same pattern. These were not sudden catastrophes. They were slow deaths. And the termites? They are still eating. Your grandchildren are inheriting a tree with hollow roots, and most of them don't even know it. Today, we don't just tell history. We try to stop the termites. Talikota. If you don't recognize that name, you should, because that is the day the shield broke. Most people believe Bharat fell when the British arrived. That is not true. By the time the East India Company landed in 1608, we had already lost our greatest empire. The Vijayanagara Empire was not just powerful. It was the wealthiest Hindu kingdom since the Guptas. Persian travelers wrote about markets where diamonds were sold by weight, not by piece. But here is what textbooks rarely explain. When 5 sultanates united to attack Vijayanagara, they did not win because they were stronger. They won because 2 of Vijayanagara's own commanders, yes, Hindu commanders, betrayed their king in the middle of the battle over personal grudges, the termites of division. After the defeat, Hampi did not simply fall. It was erased. For 6 months, temples were destroyed, palaces were burned, libraries were reduced to rubble. European travelers later wrote, "The city that once sparkled like a diamond now looks like the ruins of hell." With Vijayanagara gone, the south lost its shield. The sultanates expanded. The Mughals moved southward. And by the early 1600s, most of Bharat was living under shadow. But there is a deeper question almost no one asks. Why did those commanders betray their own king? Because somewhere along the way, we forgot that unity is not an ideal. It is survival. When brothers fight over a piece of land, strangers take the whole kingdom. Remember this pattern. You will see it again. Now comes the part that makes people uncomfortable. But your grandfather understood it. He simply didn't have the language to explain it. Look at a map. In the year 700, from the Sindhu River to the Brahmaputra, from the Himalayas to Kanyakumari, between 95 and 98% of the population followed Sanatan Dharma or Buddhism. The rest was negligible. Over the next 12 centuries, that map changed. By 1947, the Northwest and the East were 75 to 80% different in faith. Most historians stop there. They show the map, and then they move on. But ask yourself a harder question. Who are the people living there today? Did they come from Arabia? From Turkey? From Persia? No. Modern genetic studies confirm that people in Pakistan and Bangladesh share 90 to 95% ancestry with Indians. Their DNA traces back 5,000 years to this very soil. Their great-great-great-grandfathers were your great-great-grandfathers. The same farmers, the same warriors, the same rishis. So what changed? Here is the most painful truth of history. They did not steal the land. They are the land. But across centuries of conquest, pressure, and the instinct to survive, something else was slowly released. They kept the soil of their ancestors, but let go of the Sanskriti that once gave that soil its meaning. And now, look at the numbers. In 1951, the population was under 10%. Today, it is approaching 15%. In some districts, 30%. In some towns, 50%. Murshidabad in West Bengal, 68%. Malappuram in Kerala, 70%. Parts of Assam, over 40%. This is not said to create fear. It is said because history moves in patterns. A land remains yours only as long as Dharma survives within its people. Vijayanagara did not fall because its kings were weak. It fell because brothers would not stand together. Partition did not happen only because of the British. It happened because, over centuries, we had already lost the hearts of millions. If we do not teach our children the value of their roots today, if we do not help them feel proud of who they are, history will not pause for us. The termites do not stop eating just because you stop looking. By the time the British arrived, we were already exhausted. 500 years of resistance wars, divided kingdoms, internal betrayals. And then they came with a different kind of weapon, not just swords, but spreadsheets. Between 1765 and 1938, the British East India Company and later the British Raj drained somewhere between $4 trillion and $45 trillion from Bharat, depending on which economist you ask. But let's not argue about the exact number. Let's talk about what we know happened. In 1770, the Bengal famine. 10 million dead. British-owned grain stores were full. Between 1876 and 1878, the Great Famine. 5.5 million dead. Grain exported to England while Indians starved. In 1943, another Bengal famine. 3 million dead. When asked about it, Churchill reportedly said, "Why hasn't Gandhi died yet?" In 1700, Bharat produced nearly 1/4 of the world's total GDP. By 1947, we were among the poorest nations on earth. But the greatest theft was not gold. It was intellectual. It was spiritual. They dismantled our gurukuls and pathashalas, where children learned Dharma, mathematics, astronomy, medicine. In their place, they built schools designed to create what Macaulay openly described as a class of persons, Indian in blood and color, but English in taste, opinions, and morals. The intention was simple: break the tree from within, make us ashamed of our temples, make us laugh at our traditions, make us blush at our own languages, and for a generation or two they nearly succeeded. But there was something they did not account for. Our grandparents, your dada, your nani. They kept the flame alive inside the home, even when the classroom tried to extinguish it. That is why you are listening to this today. Now here we are, in 2025. The British are gone, partition is history. But are the termites gone? Look carefully. In some states, the language is quietly changing. In some districts, the demographics are shifting. In some schools, Diwali is called a winter festival, so no one feels excluded. The termites of shame, the termites of apology, the termites of forgetting. This is not about blaming anyone. This is about recognizing patterns. Every great civilization that forgot its roots eventually disappeared. Rome, Persia, Egypt, Mesopotamia. We are still here, 5,000 years later. But being still here is not enough, because termites are patient. They do not announce themselves. They do not rush. They eat slowly, silently, until one day the tree collapses and everyone acts surprised. So, let me ask you something. What are you doing to stop them? Have you taught your grandchild even one Sanskrit shloka? Do they know the stories of Shivaji Maharaj, of Rana Pratap, of Rani Lakshmi Bai? Can they name even 5 Hindu kingdoms that resisted for centuries before the British arrived? Or are you hoping someone else will do it? The school teaches selected history. The media teaches embarrassment. The internet teaches everything except roots. If you don't teach them, the termites win. Not in 50 years, not in 100, in 1 generation. Because a tree with hollow roots does not fall slowly, it falls suddenly. But here is the truth most people forget. You are not powerless. You are the gardener. Every story you pass on, every ritual you explain, every memory you refuse to forget, strengthens one root. This is not about politics. It is not about hate. It is about memory. Because when a people forget their story, they don't lose their past. They lose their future. So don't wait. Tonight, tell your family one story. That is enough to begin. My data is gone now. But before he passed, I asked him one last question. Do you think Bharat will survive? He smiled, looked at my son, and said, that depends on whether you teach him to be a gardener or a bystander. You are not watching history. You are shaping what comes next. The termites are still eating, but the gardeners are still planting. Share this with one person who should remember.